Hi everyone, good evening. This is Monica from TechPath. We'll just wait for 5 to 10 minutes. There are more candidates to join, and then we'll start with the workshop.
Okay, guys, very good evening to all of you. I hope all of you are doing well. Hello, am I audible to everyone? Yeah, Rohan, Rasun, Devansh, Monica.
You are audible.
Okay, thank you, Monica. Okay, so fine. Okay, as we have the title for this workshop, that's like a Gen AI model or Gen AI application by using LangChain or LLM. Okay. So, yeah, although we have like a basic workshop, but I will show you kind of a real world application which we can actually build by using a generative AI. Okay. Now, before starting this, before start creating that model, before showing you the code before probably make you understand the code. Whatever you guys probably can take it from the session. I want to ask a very simple question. I can see like a few participants are into like they're into the session. So how many of you often use like a chat GPT or a Gemini or any other let's say a Grok or any other this kind of a chatbot for creating like a coding applications or for any purpose for your assignments or for anything. Yeah. How often you use like a chat GPT, guys? Anyone who can tell me like what kind of a familiarity you guys have with this particular application called Chat GPT? Yeah. Okay, so going ahead, if I talk about the Chat GPT, so we all know that what application is this. If I have any like a query related to related to any field, okay. So if I have any query related to let's say like a technical field related to like a computer science field related to politics anything if I have like any sort of like a query related to health or diagnosis medical department healthcare department I can actually ask like that question from like this particular model called ChatGPT and we all know that we'll get like a proper response over here. Okay, so let's say if I ask like a simple question that please okay, can you explain let's say okay, so can you explain uh, machine learning with example okay, or with real world examples? Okay, so yeah, we'll get the whole of like the definition, the types, then different examples, probably the case studies, probably the applications. Okay, so we'll get all these like a thing just by writing a simple prompt, just by asking a simple question through the chat GPT. And similarly, guys, we have like this another application right now, which is more you can say the people are group. Okay, so even onto the group, you can probably you can write your query and you'll get a similar kind of a response from a group as well. Okay, now now is let's say like although these models are already are there into the market and these models are already there into the how we can utilize these models or how we can utilize these applications for our purpose. Okay, so when I say guys for our purpose, okay, so let's say if there's a particular e-learning platform. Okay, so like even this platform TechPath. This is also like an e-learning platform. Along with that, we have Upgrade, we have Let's Upgrade, we have Mathicals. Okay, so you probably heard all these like e-learning platforms. Okay, so if I talk about these e-learning platforms, guys, so all these e-learning platforms, they probably don't, they actually require, they also require a chatbot, okay, a dedicated chatbot which can answer a student's query. Okay, so now your query is not, if you have any issues or if you have any query, you are not going to ask maybe, who is the Prime Minister of India or what is the capital of France and all these things. Okay, definitely. You probably have issues with the fee structure. You probably have a like a problem with the course structure, and you probably have a problem with the teacher who are actually taking your session. Okay, so you put your query with that respect, and you want that the chatbot should answer your query in a similar like a way. Okay, now, but so for like e-learning platform, we need a dedicated chatbot which can answer the student's query, which can first understand the student query and then answer accordingly. Similar to like a e-learning platform. If I talk about any food delivery app like Zomato, Swiggy, or like any grocery delivery app, Blinkit or Japto, so they also need like understand the customer's request, customer query, and then response accordingly. Okay. Now, in all these scenario is we probably don't need like a which understand which politics or cricket or football or any other field. Okay. Now that is where, guys, we actually need this particular application in different areas. Okay. So if I want to let's say if I'm working for any in a bank, or if I'm associated with like any finance department, so people can ask me, like the bank can ask me to create a chatbot which can answer the query related to like a transaction or maybe a fraud or maybe anything. Okay. Now for that reason, guys, what we can do, then we also have we also need to have that capability to create a kind of a model which can answer the a selected question. Okay. And for that we need to train GPT limited number of, let's say, the PDF file or maybe the web pages. Okay. Because if I talk about this GPT model, guys, the Grok or maybe the chat GPT, so these models are actually trained on millions of web pages, or let's say billions of web pages. Okay. So they have knowledge from across the world, across the globe. Okay. And for my dedicated chatbot, we probably don't require that particular knowledge. Okay. So in that case, in that particular scenario, what I can do, I can create a dedicated chatbot which can answer, let's say, which can respond the customer, which can respond, let's say, for a particular need. Okay, so let's say if I'm working into the healthcare department, so probably I can create like a system which can help, let's say, the person who maybe like a fighting with a mental illness or maybe a mental problem, maybe a depression or maybe something. Okay. So for that, guys, I have a very simple and sorted like a research paper over here. Okay, so let me show you the data set on which we probably can train our model, and I will show you the end-to-end implementation. And trying to definitely, probably most of you guys are completely new to this field, but yeah, I try to make you understand the code like starting to end. So yeah, this is like one research paper, like defining mental health and mental illness. And in this research paper, different definitions are given for mental health, for mental illness, and even there are given, let's say, and then even how the mental health is actually there into the child. What is the definition coming from the WHO? So all these things, guys, are actually given into this simple like a document file. We can probably use more document files for this. Okay, so for a time being, we just have one document file. And what I want that my model should train on these document file, and then if I have any question related to the mental health, let's say if I'm going through the depression, or if I want to understand how the brain works into the child. So if I have these questions into my mind, and if I want to ask these questions, so I want that the model, the bot, the chat GPT model, my bot will actually able to answer those questions. Okay. So for that, guys, I've created like a simple code like over here. Let me try to make you understand this code like a step by step, and let me help you to understand that what are all things you probably require to make this. Okay. And we'll share this code at the end of the session. You probably get the link, and you can try to run into your system. Yeah, even if you want, you can try to use this code, or use this like a project for for your like a personal need. Okay. So what we have done over here, you can see that we have installed these like libraries. Okay. So I'm going to use like a Grok API, because the ChatGPT API is like not free of cost available. So because I know that most of you probably already use like a chat gpt most of the time, like I have used. So we can use a grok api because both the apis actually works in a similar way, and the grok apis are actually free of cost, and we can use that api for like multiple times, 1000 times in a single day. So and it's a free of cost. I will show you that how you can create your own API, because you can probably use my API. So we can install this LangChain underscore grok. We can install this LangChain underscore core, and we can also install LangChain underscore community. Okay, and I don't ask you guys to create to take on any other runtime. Okay, so you can directly open the collab notebook. Or let me do one thing. Okay, so I can simply copy the code, but let me do one thing. Let me try to create this like a code from like a scratch, and just cell by cell, I will try to explain the code with you, so that you probably don't face any kind of a issue or problem if you are maybe trying to do along with like me. Okay, and step by step, if you want, I will share the code into the chat box. So the very first thing, guys, you can try to open this collaboratory notebook, the collab notebook. And for that, you can go into your drive, and you can create any folder, and into the folder you this like a Google Collaboratory. Okay. So to the Google Collaboratory, we can probably try to make a connection, because this particular collaboratory notebook will actually work with the internet. So you need a proper internet connectivity. So what we can do, we can try to take out let's say this code over here, and I told you that because you are doing it for the very first time, probably, so you need to install all these let me show you the first step. So the very first step is you have to initialize your LLM model. Now LLM stands for large language model, and the name, why the name is LLM, because I told you that if you are using the chat GPT, or if you are using the grok, so you can put any query from any department. Okay, so you can put the query related to the politics, you can put the query related to the Bollywood, you can put the query related to the sports from anywhere. Okay, and that simply means that trained on billions of web pages. Okay, so if any model is actually trained on billions or millions of web pages, so definitely they're actually the language model, because they actually understand your like a language, because you're passing your like a question in form of like in an English text. Okay, you're not passing your question in a in a, let's say, the numerical format. Okay, so the model which can understand the human language, that particular model is what we call the language model. And if the same model is able to understand like a human language up to any extent, there's no limit for it. Okay, because you can put any query. Okay, you can put any query from any department, from any field, from anywhere, and that model is capable enough to give you the answer. So it means that that particular language model is actually trained on a large corpus of a data, on a very huge amount of data, and that's why the name is LLM, large language model. Okay, so that's the very first thing we have to do. We have to like initialize our app, and before that, from like LangChain underscore group, import this chat book. Now, guys, there are four parameters which this chat group. The very first parameter is a temperature. Now this temperature, guys, if you can see the if you can see my group parameter, guys, over here. If you see my group cloud, so what you guys can do, you can also try to create like account onto the group if you don't have. So you just open the group, and then what you can do, you can just try to sign up with your personal mail ID. Okay, it doesn't take more time. It hardly takes like 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, so just try to open the Grok into your system, type Grok Cloud, and then just try to create your account with your personal Gmail account. Okay, so do that, guys. Okay, so once you do that, you can see this playground option. Now in this playground, guys, I can actually ask like any question, and I will get that like a particular answer. Okay, so let's say if I ask a question that what is the role of, let's say, what is the role of third umpire in cricket? So let's say I don't have this idea. I want to understand. So I can try to click onto the submit button and I will get my answer. Okay, so you can see that what is the role of like there are multiple responsibilities. So the 5 responsibilities are discussed over here. Okay, so if you can ask, like I told you, that you can ask any question from any field. Okay, so I asked the question from cricket earlier. I asked the question from like machine learning. Then I can also ask the question, let's say even the relation between husband and wife. Okay, so I can ask any question and probably will get the answer over here. Okay, uh, yeah. But don't try to ask a weird question that how to control the wife. Probably that answer not grow able to provide you. Now, apart from that, guys, now you can see that on the right hand side, you can see the temperature over here. Now, what does this temperature mean? So you can see that temperature value. If you just try to hover on the temperature, you'll probably see the like a definition for it. So temperature is something over here which actually the value is between 0 to 2. Okay, so you can see the minimum value is 2 and sorry, minimum value is 0 and the maximum value is 2. And over here, guys, it is written into the definition box that it controls the randomness. Okay, now what does it mean, guys, that it controls the randomness, or in other words, guys, I can say that it controls the sort of the creativity. Okay, so guys, that role of temperature is very important in because it's a scenario based. Okay, so right, you can see that in my case I have taken the temperature value as 0. Okay, now let's try to understand that why I have taken this value as 0. So guys, we are actually going to create like a chatbot which can actually where you can discuss the human mental health problem. Okay, and I'm using this like a PDF file where let's say the lot of discussion about the mental health of like a human being and of a child is actually given. Okay, now guys, whenever you are creating such a chatbot where you are discussing about some human related disease, maybe a mental health, maybe a diabetes, maybe maybe a common like a disease into the human being. So whenever you are trying to discuss these kind of a problems, you cannot actually ask your like a model to generate the creative answer. Okay, because these are the very sensitive areas, these are the very sensitive field. Okay, so if I'm looking for like if I want to ask like my GPT model that what is the what is the correct treatment for let's say a blood cancer, or what may be the correct treatment for maybe a brain cancer or anything. Now guys, in that case, I don't want that my model should create the answer. My model should put like a lot of creativity into that answer. Okay, now for that, guys, I want to follow like what doctors suggest. I don't want to take the model creativity. Okay, so there's a huge difference, guys. Okay, let's say if you have a question, if you want like a chat GPT model to build a end-to-end resume for you. Okay, let's say you are like last year like students, or maybe you are a working professional. You want that the chat GPT should actually help you to create your like a resume. Now over there, guys, you want that your chat GPT model should be more creative. It will give you more creative response. Okay, so that's how, guys, this temperature value actually change. So if I want to have a more creative response, I can take this value up to 2. That's a maximum value. But if I don't want to add any sort of creativity, especially in case of medical chatbot, okay, be it a cancer related, be it a diabetes related, be it simple like a medical issues, be it a mental health. Okay, I don't want to add any creativity. I want to take the exact suggestion which is given from like Ayurveda, or maybe which is coming from like a doctors, or maybe which is coming from the hospitals, or maybe which is coming from the researchers. I don't want to add a single creativity from anywhere. And that is where, guys, we have to take that this temperature value as 0. Okay, so that's the reason I've taken this value as 0. And then, guys, you have to pass your API key over here. Now let me tell you that how like this API key is generated. So for that, you can click on this API keys, and then, guys, you can see the option over here called create API key. Okay, you can simply click on this option, and then you have to pass some name. Okay, so you can write your name, you can write your organization name, you can give any like a name over here, guys. That this is a name only for a simple display. Once you write a name. Once you click on the create but submit button, you'll get this like a sort of an API. Okay, so you'll get that copy option at the corner. Just click on that copy option and you can copy your key over here. Okay, so instead of this key which I have given, you can try to copy your key, and then you have to give a model name. So the model name, guys, is like llama. Okay, so that model name, guys, is actually present over here. Okay, so if you have a very huge amount of data set, so this is Alibaba Cloud, and then if you want to use a Google model, so it's a Gamma 2. If you want to use a Hugging Face, then this is a model. Okay, but yeah, we have a simple like we have a small data set. So for that, guys, we can use this versatile llama model. Okay, so this model I have copied, and we have this model over here. And then, guys, you can write llm.invoke, and then you can probably check that whether your LLM model is working or not. So for that, you can put any query over here related to any field, and simple examples, as well as let's say let me make it more complex, as well as with case studies. Okay, so yeah, it will get like those things over here. Okay, so once you run it, you'll get that like the whole content where you'll get the the introduction about a machine learning. You'll get some examples, and you also get the like a case study. Okay, so you have to check it, guys, that you have to copy your API key, and then you have to check that whether it is running or not. Okay, so you can see get that we are getting the case studies, types of machine learning, workflow. Three case studies are given over here. Then simple examples are given. Okay, so this is what, guys, our group model actually works. Okay, so yeah, guys, if you want, you can try till here. You don't need any like a particular file to try till here, and you can also test your like API key. Okay, so yeah, guys, if you have any doubt till this point, or anyone having like any maybe a question, so yeah, let me know, or we'll move on to the next step. Yeah, guys, Rohan, anyone? Okay, then, good. So now, guys, let's move on. And now the same model, the same like a Grok API. I want to train this like a model onto our like original data set, which is having the discussion onto the mental health. Okay, so for that, guys, there are multiple steps we have, because the computer system, guys, my computer system is probably not able to understand this human language. Okay, so this is a human language, this is a text data. So when I want to prepare a similar kind of a system called Grok or maybe Chat GPT, so in that case, guys, we first need to convert this like a human language into the vectors. Okay, and again, guys, if I talk about these this like a document file, so this document file is actually too large. Okay, so it actually consists around 11 or 12 pages. Okay, because that how many documents like how many texts are there. So I cannot pass this entire text in one shot. I need to break it down into the chunks. Okay, so breaking it down into the chunks means let's say 500 words, or let's say 500 like a sentences in the first like a batch, then 500 sentences the second batch, and so on. Because if I try to pass, guys, the entire data in one shot, then it will take a lot of memory, and there is no like a space left into our memory. Okay, so for that reason, guys, we first need to install these like a libraries which will actually help you to load the model. So you have to install these libraries like PyPDF and all. Okay, you have to install all these libraries, PyPDF and like a Chroma DB. Okay, so whatever the vector representation, guys, will do, you have to save it into the database, because that will be a lot of a big file. So that should be saved into like a simple database, and then you can probably have this Chroma DB. Okay, now, guys, once you get all these like like libraries. Now you can try to create. Guys, my screen is visible to all of you, or is it? Is there any problem with my screen? Yeah, Monica or other Rohan,
It's
yes,
fine, sir. It is usable.
it's fine. Thank you so much. So, what we can do now, we can try to do it step by step. So, I told you guys, definitely this LLM model we require. So, I can try to copy it from the top. And then guys, we can try to create our vector database where we're going to save it. Okay. So I hope that this definition, this function we already know. So with this function, what we are going to do, we are simply trying to initialize the LLM. Okay, the model. And now guys, what we are trying to do over here, let's see that over here, we are trying to use this function called directory loader, and I'm trying to load any PDF file which is there inside my folder. Okay, so if you can see guys that inside my folder, I have this okay, so I have this folder named case study end-to-end mental health discussion chatbot, and inside this folder guys I have this like a PDF file. Okay, so only one PDF file guys is actually present inside this like a folder. Okay, so what we are trying to do, we are trying to so for that guys, I just copy the path. Okay, so if you just open my drive, and inside my drive you can see that this case study is there. Okay, so I can simply click on this three dots and copy the path. Okay, so I copy that path, and then I decide, I try to take if there is any PDF file inside that folder, I try to take that PDF file. Okay, after that guys, once you load this the whole PDF file inside a document. Okay, now I told you guys that we have to create the chunks. So for creating the chunks, we have this library called recursive character text splitter. Okay, so now this function guys, what this function will do, this function will create a chunk. Okay, means there can be like multiple chunks, right? So in one chunk I can have around let's say 500 sentences. Okay, so I have given the chunk size as 500. It means that in one like a batch there will be 500 like a sentences. Okay, so you can see guys that this PDF file, it actually consists like a lot of sentences over here. Okay, so one line, two lines. So definitely this may be this particular data belongs to the chunk one. Then we have let's say this data, this maybe belongs to chunk two, and so on so forth till the end. Okay, so we have taken these data, we are trying to pass these data into the chunks. Okay, and then guys, over here we have this function called hugging face embeddings. Now what this model will do, this model will actually convert your text data, because try to understand guys that as a human being I can understand the human language. I can understand if you give me any if you ask me any question into the English or Hindi, I can answer your question because I can understand that language. Okay, but if I talk about the computer system, guys, so the computer system cannot understand the human language. It can only understand the binary language. It can only understand the numbers. Okay, so for that reason, guys, we have to convert this like a data into the numbers. And this model, guys, over here, Hugging Face embeddings, this model will actually convert like our data, whatever the data we are going to pass into the chunks, all those data will be converted into the numbers, into the vectors. Okay, and then guys, those vectors we have to save inside one database because we require some memory as well, so like some place where as well where all these data should be saved. Okay, so we have to save the entire vector data inside this database. And you can see guys that when you call this function like create underscore vector db. Okay, so you'll if this line will printed, it means that your vector will save. Okay, so you can see that it is taking some time. It means that you have a huge amount of a vector, and that's the reason now it is taking some time to save your vectors. Okay, so it takes probably maybe 1 minute, and then your vectors will be saved inside a database. Yes, so you can see that it is running, and like 47 seconds, 48 seconds, 49 seconds, 51. So I told you like probably 1 minute. So yeah, it is done. Yeah, it is saved. Okay. So now, guys, once it is done, we can move on, and we can try to create the remaining part of the code inside a same like a function. Okay. So all these things, guys, should be at one place. Okay. So we have to set up the chan. Now, what does this chan means, guys? So this chan simply indicates that you have to create like a chan of like a question answering system. Okay, because guys, at the end of the day, if I talk about this like a chat GPT model, or if I talk about the growth model, guys, so at the end of the day, guys, these are the nothing but these are the question answering system. Okay, so as a user, you try to ask your query, you try to ask your question, and then the model is trying to give you the answer. Okay, exactly the same chat, and then there's this like a question answering thing. There's you're asking the question, and then the model is giving you the answer. Now this whole thing, guys, can be repeated for like a multiple times, can be n number of times, can be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 number of times. Okay, now it means that there's some structure, there's some chain where you are trying to repeat the same thing again and again, and it is giving you the response. Okay, so let's say, guys, I have one question. Let's say I ask one question that, okay, explain machine learning in detail with maybe some simple examples and the case studies. Okay, so now they explain me the machine learning. Now I want like into the machine learning, there are three types: supervised, unsupervised. So now I actually asked one more question that, okay, can you give me more examples and the case studies related to supervised learning only? Then it gives me the example and case studies for supervised learning. Then from the same question, guys, I want to ask one more question that, okay, for give me the same thing for the unsupervised learning. Now, guys, in that way, I can have multiple questions from the same background. Okay, so let's say from like whatever the parent question we have. So from that parent question, I can ask like a multiple questions related to the same background, related to the same field. Okay. Now in that, and that is what, guys, we call as a like a chan over here. Okay, so it means that we need to set up a question answering system chan where user can ask a question until and unless the user is not satisfied. Okay, so until and unless you are not satisfied with the like a response coming from that model, you can actually ask a question. Okay, so for that reason, guys, we this particular thing is what we can call as a chan. Okay, so now over here, what we have to do, we have to create this set up this chan. Okay, and the function name is actually same. Now we have to pass two things over here, because now, guys, my input is not the PDF file. Okay, because you have converted whatever the material or whatever the text given into the PDF file. Now you converted that into the vector form, you converted that into the numerical forms. Okay, so you have that data into the numerical form. So that is your input, and the output, guys, you'll get by using this LLM model, by using this like a growth model. Okay, so there are two things, guys. There are two parameters. One is vector DB, which contain your input, and then there's the LLM model, which contain your probably the output, which is actually responsible to give you the response or the output. Okay. Now, guys, over here we are going to use a function called vectordb.sRetriever, and then we are going to design the template. So this is how the template looks like. Means your prompt templates look like this. You are a mental health chatbot. Okay, so this is simply the like kind of information and providing about this chatbot. Okay, so I can write any context over here. So this is a like a 1 or 2 line definition about this chatbot. I can write maybe a whole paragraph about this. Okay, so it's up to you, like or it's up to me that what are all the things I want to write over here. Okay, so I can complete it in 1 line, or I can complete maybe 2 lines or 3 lines. Okay, so you are a mental health chatbot. So this is simply the definition of this chatbot. Then over here, guys, you can see that into the Grok, if you want to ask the question, guys, over here there's a name user. Okay, so inside this user you are trying to put your query. So the same user, guys, I replace that with a question, because I have my question related to the mental health, and then the response, guys, will come inside the helpful answer. Okay, now with this, guys, our template is completed. Now this is how our template will look like.
After that, guys, you want to continue this chain. Okay, so we are calling this, we are creating this chain where we are trying to retrieve the answer from the LLM model. Okay, and finally, guys, what we have to do, we have to make our final if else code over here, where because guys, at the start, okay, when you start asking the question, so at the very first time you don't have anything over here. Okay, so this is a blank field. Okay, once you give one question and then let's say you're asking the question from the same department again and again and again, so then guys that chain is start working. But right now guys there is nothing over here. Okay, it's a blank file. So over here guys, that is what we have to ask. Like if there is nothing, just call your like a PDF file over here, means the PDF file which you have converted into the vectors. And then guys, we have to convert that into the vectors, into the embedding, because guys now you have to pass your query as a human being. Okay, and until unless guys you write exit, you are actually inside your GPT model. Okay, because this is what you are creating, so you have to push, you have to write exit somewhere, wherever you think that okay my query is completed, I don't have any other query left, so you can write exit over there. Okay, now fine guys, now if you run this cell, you'll get that like a chatbot. Now you can write your query, you can ask like okay, tell me uh, okay, let's say I can ask any query guys. Let's say I'm feeling depressed. Okay, I'm feeling depressed. Can you help me? Can you, let's say, can you please can you please help me to can you please give some advice to give some, let's say, valuable advice or anything to overcome from depression. Okay. So let's say if I have this question, now let's see the answer, guys. Okay, yeah. So I am so sorry to hear that you are feeling depressed. It takes a lot of courage to acknowledge and reach out for help. While I am not a substitute for professional help, I can offer some general advice that may be helpful. Okay. Now, firstly, it is essential to recognize that depression is a complex condition that can't be simply snapped out of. It is a diagnosable disorder that requires a comprehensive approach to manage. Okay. Now here are some suggestions. So five suggestions are there. It's also important to remember that it's okay to feel overwhelmed, and that's a normal part of a human experience. Remember, overcoming depression takes time, patience, and support. Be gentle to you with yourself, and don't hesitate to reach out. Additionally, if you are in crisis or need immediate support, please consider reaching out to a crisis helpline or emergency service in your area. How do you feel about seeking professional help or taking talking to someone about your feeling? Is there anything specific that has been bothering you or contributing to your feeling of depression? Okay, so now guys, at the end you can see that this is what happening with that chance. Okay, so you can see that at the end it is asking some question. So let's say there are multiple reasons why maybe anyone can be into the depression. Okay, so that may be because of their family relationship, that may be because their girlfriend or boyfriend maybe leave them, that may be because maybe they have some financial crisis. Okay, so if you have any specific problem because of which you are into the depression, you can try to put that a problem over here. Okay, so you can see that over here it is written that is there anything specific that has been bothering you. Okay, so yeah, I can write over here. Let's say yeah, my financial, let's say okay, financial condition is not so good, and that is bothering me a lot. Okay. Now let's see guys that the response, it sounds like you're experiencing some distress related to your financial situation, financial difficulties. Okay, so again I'm not going to read out it completely, so you can see that we are getting that a whole answer over here. From what I have learned, financial stress can contribute to feeling of low esteem and all. If you are comfortable, could you tell me more about what is specifically bothering you about your financial situation. Okay, so again guys, like if you want to get like whatever there guys into the book. Okay, let's say if you ask for a migraine, so probably for a migraine, nothing given into that research paper, which is like just include 11 or 12 pages. Okay, then it will simply give you the answer that okay, I don't have like a proper suggestion for it. Okay, but maybe for a depression, there's a proper chapter over there, and that's a reason you are getting like all these like answers over here. Okay, similar, and then guys, if you're done, you can just try to put exit, and you can come out from that code. Okay, now this is how guys you can actually create a simple chatbot, and you can see this is a dedicated chatbot which can help you to fight your like a mental illness, or maybe if you're having any mental problem or maybe a depression kind of issues, you can actually use this like a chatbot over there. Definitely not you cannot you should not use it, but yeah, this is one chatbot. Similarly, you can try to create it for like a customer complaint. You can try to create it for maybe a normal medicines and all. So yeah, all those things guys can be done over here. Okay, and then guys, if I want to show this like a whole thing in form of let's say web page. Okay, so for that we can use some like a model called Gradio. Okay, and then guys, Gradio is a application which actually helps you to create an a simple web page. Okay, so let me show you that how Gradio looks like. Okay, so I can try to copy guys the entire code from the top, because we exit from the chatbot, so we have to run that like a code. Okay, and at the end guys, we have to create the interface. Okay, just like this, we are using HTML CSS earlier, but we don't require HTML CSS over here. You can see that I just need to create the simple function where I can take this input from the user, means question from the user, and then whatever the response guys, I can try to print it out. So now guys, if I run it, you'll see that and this will simply give you like a simple interface which looks a bit good. Okay, and by using this URL, you can like people can see this live. Okay, so if I click on this URL, you can see that your app is actually get live, and over here you can ask your like a question. Okay, so similar kind of a question you can probably try to ask, or you can ask some other question. Let's say tell me in detail about, let's say I can see something over here. Okay, so you can just try to go into this uh, okay, let's say child mental health. Okay, now if I click onto the submit, on the other side guys, you can see the output. Okay, so yeah, this is about the child mental health. Similarly guys, the same question about depression and other things you can try to put. Along with that, you can try to look into this textbook. You can see like what are all the things are given. So if you want to understand about mental illness and stigma, you can ask that question. If you want to ask like something else, you can try to ask that as well. Okay, and again that depression thing and other like questions, you can probably try to ask it over here. And this particular site guys is actually live for 72 hours for like a public use. Definitely for your use, you can try to run it at any time, and you can see that like a same web page. Okay, so this is a beautiful web page guys, where you probably don't require the code to run. Anytime you can try to put any query over here, and you'll get that like a response. Okay, so this is guys a dedicated chatbot for let's say to discuss the mental health issues. Similarly guys, we can try to create any chatbot for any purpose. Okay, so let's say if I'm working with any e-learning platform, I can create a chatbot for them. If I'm working with any delivery app, I can create a chatbot for them. If I'm working with the like e-commerce website, I can create a chatbot for them. So for any purpose guys, for any scenario, if I want to create a chatbot, so by using this simple like a code and like a simple approach, we can actually create a simple chatbot. Okay, So yeah, I hope guys this probably excites you about like a generative AI. And if you have any like a questions or like a query, so please let me know, guys. Okay, so yeah, guys, anyone? I hope this particular application probably helps you. Yeah, Rohan, Prasun, Shivani, any doubt or any questions, guys, to anyone? Yeah. Yeah, guys.
Please respond, guys, if you have any doubts. You can also use the chat box. Already, Rohan said that we don't have any doubt. If you also don't have, you can keep a message on chat box. Yes, if no one have any doubts, we can close the session. Thanks everyone for joining the session and hope this is useful for you. Have a great day. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. Bye bye.
Bye.